For years, they've been lying to you about body repair. You do not have to cut this quarter panel off, and you do not have to put any body filler on this vehicle. This brand new M3 came to us all the way from North Florida to have a very special repair done, where we actually were able to preserve the original paint finish, preserve the original panel, and keep everything fully intact with the paintless dent repair method. Stay tuned, we're going to show you how we did it. So first off, I want to be clear that my intention here is not to demonize body shops. Obviously, body shops are always going to be in business, but you have options as a customer as to how you want to have your car repaired. This particular customer did a lot of research, found us online, found us on YouTube, and decided to travel down to Central Florida. This vehicle has a full wrap on it. You can see I have it pulled back, and I did that because obviously the wrap was damaged, and it actually did its job, and it sacrificed its life and basically preserved the original paint here. And he's just going to have it rewrapped after I'm done with the repair. And there are cases where we can actually preserve the PPF as well, but this just wasn't one of them. You can see here we're starting off with a nice pull. We're pulling against the post here, and that post is stable enough to withstand the forces needed here. We're just basically applying what's called tension or direct tension. And what we're doing here is we're actually slowly relieving the buckles, basically reverse engineering the damage here. So we're putting a nice pull on the damage, right, with the hot glue. And as we're doing that, we're simultaneously releasing the stresses that are within the panel. And doing it this way is the way that metal should be repaired. And you can see in the light reflection, it's a little choppy right now. And that is part of what we do. You know, it looks almost worse before it gets better. It starts to kind of come together as we shape and mold this metal. But the overall goal here is to use these hot glue tabs to extract a big portion of the damage first in order to get it to a manageable level to where we can go in and actually push the dents from the inside, or manipulate the metal from the inside, or the backside rather. And you can see here that glue actually gets released with some alcohol. And here's that really deep impact point on the dog leg section. And you can see it's got some really harsh, what we call crowns, and those crowns are actually holding a lot of the tension or the pressure within that dent, and we need to kind of create a pathway. So what we did here was we pulled the area right below that dent to kind of help it flow while we're striking the outside perimeter, essentially making it less tense. And here we're basically installing another glue tab in the center of that dent. We have some outwards tension on this as well, so we actually can glue this device onto the panel itself, and that actually creates a lateral tension, and we can extract the center of that dent up much easier and basically get the meat out of the dent for the most part.
There you go.
And this is a much more aggressive form of glue pulling, where we're actually using a slide hammer to shock the metal out. And sometimes you just need that. You know, you can't rely solely on just adding some tension here and there.
Black Magic.
It's either got to be pushing from the
tip
backside or
here.
creating some kind of a movement from the
snug and
outside.
tight.
And here you can see us installing a specialized
come off or
tip, or
something,
just a
yeah.
plastic tip over the tip of our metal tool that's going to protect the backside while we push on this really severe impact point here from the backside. And we're using factory openings. We do not drill holes in cars. There are some stigmas within our industry where some PDR companies will drill a hole to get to a dent. We just do not believe in doing that. That would kind of defeat the purpose of, you know, why we do what we do. We're trying to preserve the car, and doing it this way is much better. So I'm basically just using the factory access points on the vehicle. And you can see, if you look back here in the trunk, there is a very kind of vague opening there, you could say. Not the greatest access going through there. No access to the tail lamp as well. Tail lamp pocket doesn't have any good access here. Even though it did look like it had a plug, that plug went to nowhere. And here's the gas pocket opening. So the gas pocket opening was great. Here's a wheelhouse opening. That's a factory plug right there, and that, believe it or not, didn't get us anything. So we're strictly relying
Still got
solely on
lots of work.
uncomfortable access, but it ultimately got us to where we needed to go. And you can see it's a little rough still, obviously, but we're going to go in there and really fine tune it later. And I'm bringing the vehicle inside at this point. We're going to do some heavy pushing and metal manipulation. I've got a whale tail here. The whale tail is going to go down inside there, and it's going to get me all the nice pushes that I need. It's a really big, wide opening. It seems like it is, but it's still very tight because the wheelhouse actually rides right up against that skin, so it's pretty tight access. But we got in there, and that's the important thing.
Pushes in here. Bring this.
And just like we go from the inside, we also have to manipulate from the outside, and that's what you're seeing here. We're using this light reflection that's cast onto the panel as a reference, and you can see the bar actually gets thinner and wider, and we basically want to make that reflection true when it shines on the panel. That's the overall goal here when we use that light. And what we're doing here is actually trying to shift the entire quarter panel out just a bit. It's off just a hair when we close the door. We're gluing these plates onto the actual dog leg and pulling it and aligning the door with the quarter panel. And final stages of the repair, we're typically going to be doing some fine tuning with glue pulling and pushing. Still got a lot of work obviously here, but these are kind of the final stages of the repair. You start to see everything kind of come together. It is definitely rewarding. I mean, you have to stay in the fight for a long period of time, and this is probably about 20 plus hours of work here to get this to a very high level. And I would say here we're about maybe 80% or so. The last 20% of the repair typically takes the most time for sure. And that's mainly because we have to pick out every little last low and tap down every little last high to basically create that factory texture or orange peel and make it all become consistent like you're seeing here. And you can see we did not disturb any of the seam sealer or panel bonding. Everything remains intact. No drilling holes anywhere. So this is the ultimate repair scenario if you can have it done this way. It doesn't get any better quality than having it done this way, because why? It's just we're not changing anything about the car during the repair. So at that point it becomes undeniable as to what route is the best. So seek out a qualified paintless dent repair technician. Do your research before you hire just anyone, and you'll get results very similar to this. And just so you remember how bad that was, that's what it looked like, and this is what we came out with. Super happy customer in the end on this one, as you could probably imagine. Oh, and I know you're probably wondering about the cost. This customer actually went to several body shops, got quotes all over the map. Some quotes for $8,000 to fully replace, some quotes for $3,000 for a bondo job or body filler job, which would not have been a really good way to fix this. And let's just say my repair was less than the replacement and more than the traditional body filler repair. Either way you look at it though, this is a much higher quality repair because nothing changes, therefore providing a much higher value in the end. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.